about the audition process for this, because what I'm looking at is first of all, and you've got some movies under your belt, and you're up and coming actor, but yet Clint Eastwood's like at the top of his game, and then you have Paul Haggis on here, so it's like also as I keep talking, he's also a very loyal person. So you get in with Clint Eastwood, you're in. I mean,
yeah. Well, I mean, I think what's cool about Clint is that he doesn't let a lot of the pretense of this business get in the way of who he wants to put in the movie. It shows in his audition process, which is the most basic, straightforward audition process you could possibly imagine. I was fortunate enough to get a shot to read for it, go on tape with the casting director, the late, great Phyllis Huffman, who she worked with Clint for 20 years, and this is the last movie she did with him because she passed away. But I went in, I got put on tape. It was just me and Phyllis and her assistant, and walked out of the room feeling like I didn't do my best, kind of upset about that, because it's obviously a pretty good opportunity for any actor who's the right age to be in the movie. And then I got a call back like 2 weeks later. They said they wanted me to come back in, and it was the same thing again, just on tape with Phyllis and her assistant, and that was it. Clint never comes and meets you or any of that, and I like that. I think there's a lot to be said for that on a couple different levels, but the only other interesting aspect of the story is that I told everybody, I told my friends or whatever that I was going to audition for this. I did not tell them that I got called back. I didn't tell my family, I didn't tell my friends. The only person I told was my girlfriend at the time, because I just didn't want anybody breathing down my neck in any way about, hey, did you hear yet, or anything. So nobody knew that I even had gotten called back in until I found out I got the job, and then I started rolling out calls to people, and it was pretty fun day.
I know, because look, I interview people for a living in movies and so forth. Some used to, but even I saw Clint in the hall earlier, and it's like you almost get a gasp. You're like, that's freaking Clint Eastwood.
And I know, and I get it, and it makes sense, and it almost makes sense more from the perspective of later on, like, at the end of the day when you're back home in LA and you hear some jackass on the radio talking about Clint Eastwood, or calling, oh, well, who do you think you are, Clint Eastwood? And you go, man, weird, Yeah. There's this used car dealership not too far from my house that has a big painting of him, like a mural of him. It's like Hollywood cars, and it's Clint. So you see it all over the place. But the cool thing about him is that it's so easy to get over that so quick with him. He's such a mellow, low key. He's got an energy that I think is contagiously relaxing, unless you're a sycophant, which I'm not. And so it was easy to just get past all that and just appreciate him as this cool, badass guy who had a lot of great stories to tell, and it was fun to hang out with.
You have a certain responsibility as an actor. You're playing a real person, a hero, someone who was in the war. And I understand you talked to Rainey's son.
Yeah, I did. Rainey
like?
Jr. It was great. It's hard to it's hard to pinpoint the kind of insight I got out of doing that, but it made the whole thing just feel better. And I think one of the main things I wanted to talk to him about was kind of, the fact that history has been kind of the least sympathetic to Rainey, I think, out of these three guys, and also to, especially if you read the book Flags of Our Fathers, also to Rainey's wife. And I wanted to be clear with Rainey Jr. about the fact that there was that element to the portrayal of both of these characters, and also I wanted to be clear with him about the fact that I thought it was my job to make this character as sympathetic as possible, because he's more of a hero than I'm ever going to be in my life, and I said, this guy sacrificed so much, and just joining up to the Marines in the first place is, takes more guts than I have. And so I said, I think it's really important that I make sure this guy, that I make him sympathetic, and that hopefully people leave the movie and say, instead of saying that's the guy we weren't supposed to like, they say that's the guy who had the most to learn, and he did, and so good for him. And we both agreed on that, and it made me feel good to kind of get his blessing, I guess you could say.
Yeah. You did a great job.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you.